1938. Tops grew out of a Brooklyn kitchen with penny apiece tabs of gum called changemakers. Add Bazooka Joe and his motley crew, wrap it in comics, and the bubble starts to grow. In 49, Tops starts to include photo cards inside packs of gum. 1950 hits, and the first Tops cards include sports stars of the day, including Phil Rizzuto, right-hander Bob Feller, and southpaw Duke Snider. And then, 1952. 1952, it exploded like bazooka bubblegum popping. A home run connecting with a bat. A light bulb went off for Americans near and far, and the modern baseball card era was born. The first annual set of baseball cards ushered in an everlasting love affair between Tops and collectors for years to come, all starting in 1952. Featuring 407 cards, the first Topps annual set proudly displayed the likes of Willie Mays, Jackie Robinson, and Bob Lemon, all in their rectangular glory. Kids clamored for wax packs near and far, 6 cards in a pack, and a slab of bubblegum for a nickel. These cards are the first with team logos, simulated player autographs on the fronts, and bios and stats on the back. 1952 Topps cards set the standard for the booming industry. From baseball came entertainment. Star Wars, WWE, Garbage Pail Kids, and more. Topps has been there documenting the moments we hold dear for decades. Fast forward to 2020, and while a lot has changed, one thing remains the same. Baseball cards are thriving. From our Topps digital apps to the Topps Now cards, collectors are making their mark on an industry that's booming with the times.
Hey, welcome. Hey, Chris.
Hi, Pat. Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, no problem. This is we had to do a little bit of back and forth, and I want to say hi to a couple people that came in the chat real quick. Diamond West, thanks for coming. We got a couple people in here that are lurking but not saying nothing yet. But it takes a couple minutes for the stream to go out and get notifications to people that were live. So I wanted to do a special. I'm doing a special doubleheader tonight. I reached out to Chris. I found him on Twitter. Now, as everybody knows that I am a reseller, I buy and sell all kinds of different things on eBay and Amazon. One of the things I like to do is buy cards, and I also like to collect cards. So I am on Twitter, and I came across Chris because he does a different style of selling. He actually sells cards on Twitter. So I reached out to him and wanted to hear his story and how he kind of came about selling cards. So why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do on Twitter?
All right. Well, my name's Chris Burkhart, and it's funny. If COVID would not have happened, I would not be here today doing this. I've got 3 daughters. My youngest just graduated high school last year. And I was a high school softball coach for 12 years. And with the softball season being canceled last year, I had 5 weeks of my vacation that I scheduled during softball season, so I don't have to rush to games and practices and stuff like that. And how it is at my work, I work for Federal Express.
Okay.
Our year goes June 1st to June 1st, more or less. So I had all my vacations scheduled in the end of April and most of May, and I couldn't, push it off. I had to take it. So, once the season, like I said, once the season got canceled, one day back at last March, I was sitting out on my deck going through some of my 1950s cards, and just took a picture and posted on Twitter saying, hey, taking advantage of this nice Saturday, March afternoon, and started getting all these likes and comments. And this was on my personal Twitter page handle. And I started looking at their responses, and I saw that, they were buying and selling cards on Twitter. I thought, well, hell, I used to do it on eBay before my daughters were born. And I used to set up at shows all over northern Kentucky, greater Cincinnati. I would go to Louisville, Lexington, Indy, Columbus. So, I saw all these people posting, that they were buying and selling on Twitter. So I thought, what the heck? I'm going to give this a try. And, 9, 10 months later, here I am just having a heck of a good time. You know,
And
been able to go.
you're selling cards every day. I mean, I pulled up his, and not many of us, honestly, there's not many people that I know in the reselling community that are on Twitter. The reason that I'm on Twitter is I follow the stock market and I like the hobby of collecting cards. So there's a couple people I follow, and because I had Blake Jameson on the show before, one of his friends, Tony, follows you. So because I'm friends with Tony, it recommended your page, and I kept on seeing your post, and you could see on the Twitter feed it says joined April 2020. There's a lot of people in the community that, obviously they sell on eBay, and they actually are doing lately, which I participated in, is online baseball card auctions. And you're not doing basically none of that. You're showing that you can do this. If you guys look, he has 2,636 followers just on Twitter alone. And you don't do YouTube, right, Chris?
No, I don't do YouTube. I don't sell on eBay. I'm not a fan of all the fees that they charge. I know I can reach a bigger audience or a bigger customer base, so to speak, by using eBay, but I'm totally content with doing this on Twitter, and my followers and the people that are buying from me, I provide them with some good stuff at a really nice price, and they're happy, I'm happy, so I'm just gonna I'll stick with Twitter.
Right. Now in the description I have, and in the chat above I have his Twitter. So if you guys are interested, and he not only sells cards, he bulk buys cards. I'm featuring one of the things he just got he has I think it's over 4,000 posts on his Twitter the last 10 months, and you could see here a person named Junkie Wax bought this whole box here. And you could tell, this is not stuff that's from last week. If you guys know, I talk a lot about even Topps Project 70, but I grew up in the 80s, and I like a lot of the vintage cards that I couldn't afford as a kid. And I think there's a lot of people that are in the same boat, that they're buying those cards. But if you look at that monster box that Chris had featured and shared on his Twitter there, those are 60s. Look at those cards over there to the right. I recognize the one because I have a Bob Uecker similar to that one.
Yeah, I can tell that's a 67 Moose Scouring.
Yeah, and then to the left,
63. I'm sorry, 63.
And then to the left is the 75s. Yeah. Here's a 60. Hold on, let me put the print so damn 60. This is a 60 here. This is a 67
Bob Uecker.
Bob Uecker. And and one of the reasons I actually reached out to Chris, because there has been a lot of chat in the community, is I know nothing about cards. And because I enjoy the hobby so much in talking about it, I wanted to bring on Chris to kind of share what he does, what he looks for, and his interest. And where are you from, Chris?
I'm in Northern Kentucky. I'm right across the bridge from downtown Cincinnati.
Okay.
It take me about less than 5 minutes to be, where the Reds play their home games from my house.
Now, do you go to any games at all, Chris?
I haven't been to a game in probably 5 years, when my daughter had a dad's day out for her sorority at University of Cincinnati. And other than that, probably when they were little. My wife was not a baseball fan, so she would drop us off in front of the stadium. Me and my daughters would go in, and this is when they were in grade school. And then once the game was over, we just walk across the bridge and walk home. It would take us maybe 20, 25 minutes tops to get home.
Right.
Nice. It was a nice little walk. So, but no, I'm not, I see all these people posting stuff on Twitter about all these new players and stuff like that. And, and you see all these people going to Target and Walmart buying, all this retail stuff. I tell people, I could walk through a Walmart or Target and see all that stuff, stock full I wouldn't give it a second look. It doesn't do anything for me.
Right.
I prefer, pre 75. When I used to do my card shows back in the mid, I started doing it in the late 80s through, probably 97, 98. And, I would, at the card shows that I would go to, most of them, except for the really big ones, I was the only one that had any kind of vintage, anything pre 75. It was just, I just love those older cards, and everybody that at most of these little regional shows were so interested in the new stuff coming out, and it just wasn't my bag of tricks. Plus, it was nice when I set up at shows. I was the only one that had vintage most of the time, so anybody that was looking for that, they had to come to me.
Right. Now, do you sell any graded cards?
I have some graded cards in my personal collection, and it's funny. I bought a collection this is a collection I got about 2 months ago, and
Oh, wow.
this was in it. It's a T206 Chief Myers card. It's the oldest card I own.
Wow.
But that was part of the collection, and I didn't even see it in this collection. Guy had a lot.
What's the value of that card, Chris?
I think it's only $100, $150 maybe.
Oh, okay.
It's not that expensive.
And the reason I ask is because people in the chat will be like, "Hey, Pat, did you know?" Or when Chris showed that card, how much was that card worth? And I wouldn't know, but I'm familiar with like the Honus Wagner tobacco cards, and
Yeah, as soon as I saw that T206, as I was looking through the box, I'm like, oh, let's see what this one is. But but no, I mean, it's I'd say since August I've bought 6 or 7 collections locally in my area. The only one that was out of my area where I did some significant driving was the last one that I bought back in the first week of January. And that one was in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. That's the home of former Ohio State quarterback Art Schlichter. But so I drove, that took me about, it was an hour, 20-minute drive, and the collection there blew me away. It was an elderly gentleman. His family was taking care of him at their house, but they wanted to move back into his house, and they wanted to do some remodeling at this place. But they couldn't they were remodeling around this collection. There was over 300 5,000 count monster boxes.
Wow.
There was one bedroom that had nothing but sets and binders in bookcases all across the room. There ended up, make a long story short, I made them an offer. They accepted. I went and rented a U-Haul.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you drove a van out.
Yeah, well, I took my mom and dad's Ford Expedition, and me and my wife drove up here because I told her, I said, you know what, you're going to go with me, because if I go up here and I buy this, I don't want to have to stop. I don't want to have to drive back home and then drive back up.
Right.
So, I told my wife, I said, you guys start packing stuff up. I went and rented a U-Haul, came back, and it took us about 3 hours to load up the U-Haul. But, this collection, like I said, it had 300 5,000 count monster boxes, ended up being 473 sets and binders. There was
real quick. I'm not sure if you could see the chat, because as people don't realize, Chris has never done YouTube, right?
No.
And I'm the first person to probably to broadcast an interview with you all over the world here on YouTube, that people that are watching this. But there's a gentleman, Todd Billings.
Todd Billings. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's saying
a customer.
Yeah, he's saying what's up, and he's also saying should be more like you in this hobby. He's the kind of guy to give you shirt off his back with no questions asked. And I got a question here from JC. How do you find these collections? Any advice on what to look for and how to negotiate?
Okay, so I appreciate what Todd has posted. He's a very good customer of mine. I have a lot of repeat customers. And I really appreciate them coming back. I try to give them great prices, and it shows with their repeat business. But as far as how I get these collections, um, I've gotten them all through Facebook Marketplace. I don't have a Facebook account. I just asked my wife because she has one, and she would post stuff on there. People would get a hold of her, and then she would forward their information or my information to them. They would call me, and as far as how to negotiate the price of anything, I tell everybody, a lot of people ask me, how much is this worth? How much is that worth? And I tell them, I don't care what a Beckett says the price is. It's only worth what somebody's willing to pay. So, as far as buying these collections, it just depends. You gotta realize that, once you buy it, you assume all the risk. That person just, that person that just you bought it from, they've got cash in hand. Now it's up to you.
Right.
So, a lot of times, it just depends on, like this last collection that I bought up in Washington Courthouse. I looked for specific items that I knew I could if I had to sell them, within a week to get my money back, then, all right, this is a collection worth buying. And then, I try to figure in how much time it's going to take me. A lot of the collections that I bought, I'm trying to buy at maybe 10, 15 cents on the dollar. And that's how it was, when I was doing the card shows, when I was set up at card shows, that's how I was always, I told people, I'll buy it for, I'll buy your entire collection, but it's going to be, 10, 15 cents on the dollar. I said, because now I've assumed all the risk.
And it also seems to me, in all fairness, if people are watching this, he's not talking about buying one card. He's talking about buying a person's whole everything they got. Like he just mentioned, it was 305,000 count boxes. So if you have a card that's worth $100, he's not going to offer you $10 for it, because he's really not interested in one card. He's really interested in bulk buying and getting a whole big. So he's going to assume the risk of selling that, and you're going to get that immediate cash of a large quantity of cards being sold.
Yeah, and I had, like I posted on my Twitter feed, last Sunday, I had a guy drove 4.5 hours up here to see me to buy some of the cards from that collection. And, I'm still, I'm looking to my right, I'm staring at 125,000 count monster boxes still.
Now, are you at your house, or?
No, I'm at my father owns a warehouse, thank God, because my wife, she said, no, this stuff is not coming in the house. So,
we can all relate to you, Chris. Whether we're selling other things or baseball cards or stuff that we sell on eBay, anybody who follows me can relate to. They call it death piles.
Yeah.
And, cards are a little different because they stack nice, and you can, in one corner, you could stack 100 or 200,000 cards, and they're also easier to ship than a lot of stuff that, like, I sell on eBay.
Yeah. So no, I've got 120, 5,000 count boxes on 2 skids here. So that was the other good thing. When I got this collection and drove this U-Haul back, all I had to do, I backed into the parking lot, opened up one of the warehouse doors, put the ramp inside, and took skids up into the truck, loaded the skids up, took them back down, and brought them in. So, it worked out perfect. And, with my father owning this warehouse, there's plenty of room for me to store this stuff and, and move it from there. But no, getting back to the buying the collections, if a lot of the collections that I've bought have been mostly newer stuff. I'm talking, maybe, dabbling with a little bit of 70s. One of the first collections I bought had some 50s and 60s stuff, not a lot. The majority of it was, say from 85 on, a lot of junk wax era stuff. But a lot of the junk wax era stuff, when I first got on Twitter back in April, I probably moved, oh my God, probably about $5,000 or $6,000 worth of nothing but junk wax. I was shocked at how people were buying.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of things come back. I'm looking at your Twitter now, and then people who are watching this on the replay saying, "How do I reach out to Chris?" He's on Twitter, CTB Cards, and what he does is he makes different size lots. And how many different lots do you feature a day on your Twitter?
Yeah, well, I've been fortunate, like I said, I was a high school softball coach because of my work at Federal Express. With COVID, everybody's ordering stuff online now. So I can't get off work early enough to get to, practices and games. So it's not fair. I told the athletic director, I said, I expect 100% out of my players, and they should expect 100% out of their coach. And unfortunately, I couldn't give 100% because I can't preach to these girls about being on time and then myself not being there on time. So, I had to step away from that. But now I lost my train of thought. What we were talking about?
Well, basically, how many lots you were listing every day? Yeah.
So with that being, with me stepping down from coaching about a month ago, because of work, I still had 5 weeks of vacation scheduled. So I took off last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I took off this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And, so I can spend all day, playing around with, different size lots. I think right before we came on, I posted 2 mystery lots.
I saw that. And I showed that. I really think, it's your business model here, and it is a business now. I mean, you're selling a lot of cards here, and obviously making a living doing it and flipping cards. I think it's just tremendous, and that's one of the reasons why I want to have you come on, because I want to learn something about it, because I enjoy selling cards and how to find cards, and I've bought in some cards on Facebook and stuff like that, but going forward myself as a reseller, I really want to. Prices will fluctuate all the time, but there will always be an interest in cards, because the kids that play softball look up to, if they want to, like the Phillies or Yankees, whatever team they follow. Hey, real quick, I'm not sure who looks like a family member, Jamie.
That's my wife.
Okay, yeah, she's in the chat here, so she basically saying that can message right there to if you're looking for to sell or reach out to Chris also.
Yeah, getting back to buying, if I enjoyed the heck out of this last collection, as much stuff as I had. It was overwhelming and daunting. I've spent, like I tell people, once I got this collection, once I get home from work at night, I would come down to the warehouse, look through this, start going through this, cataloging what I had. I'd come back every night. On Friday night, I'd stay down here till about midnight. I'd come back down about 7 in the morning on Saturday. I'd spend all day. I wouldn't leave till midnight on a Saturday night. I'd wake up in the morning at 6:30, go to 7 o'clock mass, come straight back down here. I've put in probably more hours going through this collection of late than I do at my regular job. It's a lot of work, and you put in a lot of hours, but I've had a heck of a great time and fun time just doing this, because this is something, like I said, once my kids got to the age where I could coach them in grade school and then, eventually into high school, this was something that I did before I got married and before I had kids, and I had to put all that to the side once all that's,
Yeah, I
and now,
I can so relate to you.
yeah. And then, like I said, once, once COVID hit and they canceled the softball season, this allowed me to get back into something that I truly enjoyed and had put to the side for almost 20 years. I'm going to be doing a card show we're going to be doing a card show next Sunday, and it'll be the first card show I've done.
Where at, Chris?
That'll be in Florence, Kentucky.
Okay.
So it'll be the first card show I've done in probably 24 years. So I'm looking forward to it. When I jump into something, I go into it 100%. And, I've been doing it. And my wife loves it because I'm not at home bugging her. My daughters love it because I'm not at home bugging them.
Well, and to be honest, you're keeping yourself busy, and it sounds like you're a good family man. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, get themselves wrapped up into other things, and this is just so fun, and it's a good hobby, and you're making money doing it. I mean, I love it, and there's other people I know in the chat. One of them is Anthony. He's from Pittsburgh. He used to be into pro wrestling and stuff like that, and he's a reseller, and he does cards on his channel now and stuff like that, where he's sending cards off to be graded and stuff like that. And having you on, what I hope is that people who are watching this basically learn a little bit from your business model, and maybe there's obviously, look, you're not controlling the whole United States, so there's enough cards for a lot of people to sell an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
That I myself live about an hour, 15 minutes west of New York in the Poconos here in Pennsylvania. And, I'm hoping one day to do this where I can make about $500 a week. And I enjoy the hobby. And I'm not afraid to get out there on the road and talk about it. There's a lot of cards. And are you finding that out, that there's a lot of cards that people have that you wouldn't think, old collectors that, have things?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first collection that I bought back in August, people on my channel or my Twitter feed, followers, they'll remember I called it the basement collection, because this guy, he was about 80 years old, and he bought out parts of 2 card shops back in 94, 95. And just by dumb luck, I knew he had cards, and I seen him one day, and I was looking to finish a 58 top set. I needed 2 team checklists. So I stopped him and I asked him, I said, I need 2 team checklists for my 58 set to finish it. I said, would you happen to have them? Because I know you got cards. And he said, I might have them, just, stop on by. And, he would bring up boxes of cards from his basement and just start selling them to me. And I ended up, finding out that, he had bought out 2 card shops. A lot of the stuff he had was from the junk wax era. And when I say he had junk wax, I mean, there was at one point, I got so much stuff from that junk wax era, like 90 Fleer and Donruss and, Score. I mean, I filled up 6 100-gallon dumpsters with that stuff. I mean, I couldn't donate any more of the stuff. It was a matter of just getting rid of it. I mean, and I had one of the guys, the local card shop owner I told him about it. He said, now all we need is about another 100,000 more people like you to do something like that before those cards are worth anything. Because they just mass produce that stuff.
JC is saying that he bought some cards from that collection from you. Here's a perfect, here's a lot that he called a 29 card hodgepodge lot, $30 shipped. Now the only thing he asks is that you pay the 3% fee that PayPal charges when you send him the money, and the 30 cents. So basically, he's looking, big deal. That's most people don't care because it's only a couple bucks. But I mean, here you have a lot of good quality cards. Each card is probably worth, and these are, I mean, obviously you could see by the gold on them, these are the newer cards and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
a lot of these cards are worth $3 to $5 a piece. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 29 cards. Here's the first set. Here's the second set, and again, he's not just selling new, but I'm showing you. I mean, I would have loved that. It's a beautiful set, and it's somebody who can't afford maybe $100 Willie Mays, but likes one of these $5 ones, and they're in great shape. Are you selling them? Let me ask you: are you selling all sports cards, or do you particularly try to stick to baseball and football?
No, I mean, whatever is in the the collection that I buy, like this last collection, this gentleman had probably 90% of it was baseball. There was a small spattering of football and basketball. He actually had some hockey. There was some 1990 Pro Set English Premier League soccer. I mean, it was an odd array, but the majority of the stuff the collections that I bought, the vast majority of the collection is baseball.
Right.
And even when I was collecting and doing shows back in the late 80s, early 90s, and through the late 90s, more or less, I never got into football or basketball. Now I can kick myself in the butt for not really getting into the basketball during the, the late 80s with the Jordans. Now I do have, I have some Jordan. I have a Jordan rookie. I was fortunate enough to get one. But, if I was into that stuff, back then, who knows how many of them I would have had. But if, the majority of the collections that I've been buying, that picture right there, that was part of
that's beautiful.
The last collection.
The autographs. And, I have a lot of people in here that follow my videos. They're looking for, because you are buying right, you are selling fairly.
Correct.
You're not selling. I see your prices. You're buying 10, 15 cents on the dollar, but honestly, you're probably selling 50, 60%, 50, 60 cents on. You're not asking full blown retail.
No, and that's that's the one good thing about people. I've discussed with some friends and stuff like that. They ask me how much you pay for these collections, and I tell them. And it's like, one guy at work always gives me crap. He says, "Man, you're ripping these people off." And I'm like, they can say no.
No, right. And they
can counter as well. And I've had a couple of people that have countered.
They could do their own homework, and again, who knows what they paid for them, and they got it years ago. And cards, like anything, fluctuate. And if you're a reseller, and you have to look to get the best deal for you, because like you said, you're taking the risk.
Right. But and it's and I try to be fair with what I pay for to people. Like this last collection, when I saw all the vast amount of stuff that he had, I told a gentleman, I said, I hate to tell you this, but you're never going to get what you paid for all this. I mean, I will not be able to pay you. I mean, just what he had in supplies alone, top load,
unless he wants to sit there for a year or two and part it out, right?
Lord. I mean, he had.
Chris, do you have any cards in front of you that you're going to be mailing out?
Well, the mystery lots, and I don't want to show those because then people.
Then it takes away the.
But no, I mean, I can show you some of the stuff that I picked up in some of these collections. Here's.
Hold on one second, Chris.
All right.
We got about 10 minutes until we're going to be doing our show with Lauren.
Right.
So real quick, I want to give a preview, and then when I come back, you're going to show exactly what you got going out, and that'll be it. And I'm hoping that we can have you on again sometime. So hang on, all right?
All right, no problem.
So that's Lauren, and if you don't know, Lauren actually follows you on Twitter, Chris.
Yeah. I saw that, and I've checked out some of her artwork, and if you've never seen her stuff, you need to go to her web page and see this. I mean, the stuff that she does is amazing. It is amazing.
We got about 4 more minutes because at 9 o'clock we are going to go live with Lauren on a separate feed, but on my channel. So let's go over real quick what you have to show there, Chris.
All right. These are a couple 1950 Bowmans that I picked up out of one collection. I haven't posted these yet for sale, but these are some of the things that I've picked out of some of the collections I've bought. Here's a 55 Moose Scouring. Really nice shape. Actually, it's actually gradable is the condition that's in. Now we got a 59 Frank Robinson. Here's another 63 Robinson. 65 Clemente.
A lot of the cards that you're showing look like those are cards we could send in to be graded. The quality.
Oh yeah, I mean they are that quality. They're really sharp corners and everything. This was out of a collection that I bought back in October, and it was nothing but junk wax. And the only thing that I saw that really stood out from this collection was a 1989 Upper Deck factory set. And I saw all this wax on the table, and at the time it's like that stuff it's all garbage. And I ended up buying the collection, and I get home and I'm like, wait a minute, that one box, Derek Jeter rookie cards are in there. Let me see what it was. The 93 Upper Deck Series 2. Now, back in 95, 96, 97, you could go to Value City, Big Lots. They'd have skids of those for $5 a box.
Right.
Well, there were 6 of those in this collection I bought. I came home and looked. They were selling for $75, $85 on
a box.
eBay.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got 6 of them. I got 4 of the 36 count boxes and then 2 jumbo boxes with 24 packs in each. So I got on eBay Sunday and was looking at it. I seen one box sold for $510.
Wow.
Now I think maybe somebody was jacking up the price because the rest of them were selling for anywhere between 150 to $225.
Yeah.
But so that was in that collection, and also this here.
Oh wow, Topps Gold.
This is a 92, 93 Topps Gold basketball set with the Shaquille O'Neal rookie. Well, when I bought that collection, I wasn't into the basketball that much. And, I saw it was 92, 93, and I figured, okay, I think that's Shaquille's rookie here. So I get home, look, it was selling for $400 on eBay. I just looked the other night. I seen them going for $1,500 now. Yeah. I mean, it's a couple other things here. If anybody's interested, I've got 93 of these bad boys. Chipper Jones rookie cards. That was in this last collection I bought. And then there's also 100 Ryan Kleskos. It's some of the odd stuff that I pick out of these collections. There's some neat stuff. There's some really oddball stuff, which is I like finding some of these. Here's another. This is Jose Canseco from Huntsville Stars.
Oh yeah.
It's and some of this stuff. A lot of these monster boxes. The collection that I bought right before this one, it was 55,000 count boxes. And it was just a hodgepodge. I mean, nothing was sorted. You could pick out a stack and it was basketball, football, it was everything. I ended up going through about half of them. The rest of them, I said, to heck with it. I'm just going to sell as is, blind, somebody, uncertain, and that's what I'm finding.
I'm gonna reach out to you. If anyone's watching this, you can reach out to him on Twitter, and his wife did post his Facebook handle. I'm gonna reach out to you because I want to buy some cards to send in to be graded. But We are getting to the end of our time here. I do appreciate you coming on. And if you guys could join us, I put the link in below. We are going next to Lauren Taylor on another feed, and she's going to be our guest tonight and talk about her journey and how she's working with Tops now. But Chris, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to doing this again. And, everybody enjoy watching Lauren. I mean, she's got some really good stuff.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Have a good night.
All right.
That's right. You're damn right I did that. 8 down. 8 profiles. You hear him? You hear him? He's trying to talk smack on me and Cletus. What is he talking about? That was the highlight of the show. He got a little haywire. I'm not going to let somebody take me out like that. Not going to happen. I'm never going away, Patdees. Matter of fact, this show's going to go into watching Patdees. We're going to watch Patdees videos. We're going to make fun of them the whole damn time.